All right, Racing for Heroes fans. I know everyone's excited. It's October 9th, sort of ordinary time here in Radio Land. And then, we're all gearing up for November 11th as well. Veterans Day is just around the corner, a month away. And I did want to remind everyone out there who's listening, we have a online virtual 5K race that you can sign up for. So if you go to our website, www.racingforheroes.org, you can sign up. You can run your 5K. We're doing a little community thing, too, where we're trying to get folks to get up to 7,092.8 miles, which is the distance from our headquarters all the way to the headquarters at Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan. So without further ado, our first guest today, I'm super excited. I've had a couple conversations with him. Fellow Navy veteran, Stephen Changon, who is a manager of O'Reilly's Auto up in Bristol, Connecticut. And he served in the Navy on a ballistic missile submarine, and he's going to tell me which one it was because I forgot, but as a radioman. And my first job in the Navy was actually as a communications officer, so I know the challenges of being a radioman. So, Stephen, are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
Stephen, so listen, thanks for being here, and I know that you're part of the Navy family, and I know you're part of the O'Reilly's family as well. So thanks for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely, my pleasure.
And Stephen, I heard your brother works at O'Reilly's too. Is that?
He does.
He does, but you're the better looking of the two, is from what I've been told. So I know
Absolutely.
It's radio. And he was a veteran as well, right? Was he Navy or Army?
No, he didn't either. He started off and started doing auto parts.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha. And so when you were in the Navy, though, you were on ballistic missile submarines, right? Like what they call boomers. Not to be confused with people of a certain age group, but it's a sort of the same sort of thing. So explain to me like what you did on the submarine.
Basically, it was communications. If the commanding officer had to send off a message, I sent it off. If we were underway and we needed to receive messages, we would run the antennas up and patch all the gear together with the old patch cords. I'm sure nobody remembers those anymore.
I do.
Yeah, that's right, too. You were a commo. Yeah, don't touch the gear, Lieutenant. Don't touch the gear.
That's right.
But we would receive the messages, and then we would, send them off wherever they had to go. The crew would get what they used to call a family gram, where your family could, write you a letter. We would distribute those to the crew.
Pre-email, if I remember correctly.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We'd float the buoy, I used to call it.
Yeah. And so now, which ballistic missile submarine were you on?
I was on a Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh, the Ulysses S. Grant. So awesome.
Yep. SSBN 631.
Gotcha. Which is, I'm sure, long since become razor blades.
Yes. 1992, if I remember correctly, she was turned into razor blades.
Yeah, gotcha. Or you could be driving with it now too. So you might have that, Steve.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to your point, I was kind of a commo around the same time that you were in radio, and we had all that sort of stuff. And I absolutely remember that when it comes to being a communications guy, as long as all the radios are working, everything's great. But the second something goes down, you are the devil. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So 90% to 95% of the time we were the heroes. There were those times when a piece of gear would go down, and a lot of times you could fix it with a rubber mallet, if I remember right. You open the drawer up and reseat the cards with a mallet, and it would start to work again.
Like Fonzie.
Every now and then, they would go down.
Yeah, you're like Fonzie, though, so you got to look at it that way.
Absolutely.
That guy was cool. And now, so I think people who are listening have probably seen that movie, Crimson Tide. So did you guys ever have anything exciting like that with Denzel Washington and the captain and getting all crazy about nuclear weapon launches or anything like that? Or you can't talk about it?
I mean, I will say this. I did spend some time in some sketchy spots.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
I remember Gaddafi when he ran his mouth the first time back in the 80s.
Yep.
Remember that very well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, man, I appreciate the Submariners, what you guys do, because it is such a hard job. And I had the dubious distinction. I was on USS Detroit, which I know you would refer to as a target. But I actually found a submarine by looking at the raw radar video, and I saw the periscope, and I was able to get the battle group to point at it, even though we were not ASW capable. So it was a high point of my submarine career.
So the submarine guys got bored and decided to let you find them, is what you're telling me?
More or less. We all know what really happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, listen, it's my story, though. But when you transitioned from the military, tell me about how you ended up at O'Reilly's.
Well, you want to go all the way back to when I got out. Obviously, as a radioman on a submarine, you learn a lot of electronics, repairing the gear and all of that. I found it really hard to get work. ESPN is out here. There was multiple places that were making electronic gear. When you interview with people and you start telling them about, you can read schematics and all that, I kept hearing overqualified.
Yeah.
So I went back to my roots. I went back into automotive.
That's amazing.
So I went from there. My first job was Monroe Muffler.
Okay.
Actually, I got a car I had to get registered, and I impressed the manager down there with my little backyard mechanics, and he offered me a job on the spot, and
That's
I took
amazing.
it. And that was 1988.
There you go.
And I was basically a mechanic for 30 plus.
Wow.
I'm towards the end where it's not fun being a mechanic anymore. Doing parts, I've run a few parts stores. I ran a Napa as well.
Okay.
AutoZone, Auto Palace, and I talked it over with my wife. I like the O'Reilly culture.
Yeah.
It's a good fit for me. It's not about selling the auto part, which obviously it is, but it's more about developing people and developing a team.
That's great.
The same way as the military.
Yeah.
It's one team.
Yeah, and I think that, when I heard about how O'Reilly does business and how they treat their employees and sort of like the greater community, it really was inspiring. And you even told me that you're on the floor most of the time, like walking around helping people.
Absolutely. So my morning routine is I'm in the office in the morning for right around an hour or so, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on if I have to go hunting for parts or something to that effect. But the rest of the day is I'm side by side with my team. I'm out there making sales. I'm giving advice to customers, checking check engine lights. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'm helping out the team on the counter. My job is to develop that team, and I can't do it from the parking lot. I can't do it from my office. I got to do it right there with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. Hey, so let me ask you a question. What was the worst problem that a customer came in with that you were able to help them out?
Oh God, I ask that same question when I interview people.
That's why I'm asking you.
I mean, am I up for a job here?
No.
You know what?
Host a radio show.
Yeah, right. You know what? I really haven't had any really bad experiences. I had one experience with a customer that did a labor claim. And what that is he bought a part, installed the part was bad. And me being a newer manager per se, I didn't realize that he needed to have his part installed by a garage. So I went ahead and put the paperwork through. It got denied. I let him know it got denied, and obviously this customer was upset. So I got together with my district manager, and I'm sure he talked to his boss, the regional manager. We took care of the customer. We got him some money. We made him happy. He turned around the day I handed him the check. He turned around and spent more than that money in the store.
See, there you go.
It was a win for everybody.
Yeah, that's customer service. That's customer
Absolutely.
service. And I appreciate that. And I think that, that's just indicative of I would say the veteran community, just like looking to get, to the answer. And, because we always get bad news in the military, as we all know, but, it's all about resiliency and kind of bouncing back and making the best of the situation. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Hey, so kind of a final question before we go to the next caller. Tell me about your store. You're up in Bristol, Connecticut.
Yep, I'm up in Bristol, Connecticut. I have a larger store than normal. Most stores will typically carry X amount of dollars. I don't want to start throwing dollar figures around, but my store, we carry probably double your normal store.
Wow.
I have double the team members that normal stores do. So I have a lot of the local stores that'll pull from me just because I have it in stock. So
that's amazing.
I'm actually helping customers in other towns, other markets, if you will. It makes me feel good that I can help people out.
And you guys are in Bristol, right? Right outside of New Haven. Hartford, right? Yeah,
I'm about 30 miles or so from Hartford, 20 miles from Hartford.
Okay, yeah, not too far.
Yeah, pretty much right smack in the middle between Waterbury and Hartford.
And what's next step for you? Are you looking to get promoted within the O'Reilly team? And what's next? What would be next if you were moving on up?
The next step for me would, if I was to take a promotion, would be district manager. I have talked about it with my district manager, what I need to do to take that step. Whether that's in the cards or not, that's up to the people above me, as it were. I like to think my name's in the hat, though.
That's good. No, and I think you told me, and I know you're being very humble, but you were like the number 1 or number 2 store, like in the region. Is that true too, or?
I am in my district. I am third.
Oh, that's
out
amazing.
Out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. So, I mean, that's amazing. And you're not in a very big area. I mean, you're a little pretty rural, from what
Bristol had we roughly 50,000 for population.
That's amazing.
The towns around us are smaller, so Bristol's the bigger part, but everything around us is fairly smaller.
Gotcha.
The next town over that's of any size is Southington, and there's an O'Reilly's out in Southington as well.
Gotcha. And then Veterans Day is coming up. Anything exciting going on with O'Reilly's around Veterans Day or?
O'Reilly is already we have a company magazine called Spirit, and they've already petitioned, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, for all the veterans to send in a picture so that they can put them in the November issue.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
okay.
O'Reilly definitely takes care of their veterans. They definitely appreciate what we've gone through, and I appreciate that right back.
Oh, for sure. And Steve, and with that, we got to move on to our next guest. But listen, Steve, thanks for being here. Truly appreciate it, and always happy to have a fellow Navy vet on board.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Brett. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks so much, brother.
All
right, everyone. So that was Stephen Changon again at O'Reilly's Auto Parts up in Bristol, Connecticut. Just great human. So our next veteran is Johnny Moser, and Johnny is a U.S. Air Force retiree. Served for 23 years, 4 months, and 7 days. Not that he was counting. And then served in electronic warfare as a maintenance guy for about 15 years, and then 8 years as a flight engineer with C-130 cargo aircraft, the Hercules, and is now involved with another nonprofit that is really near and dear to my heart, the SAVE21.vet, which I'm going to have him explain. And he's also involved in Formula 4 racing. So just kind of awesome human and, just awesome veteran. So, Johnny, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brett.
Now, and Johnny, you were in a little longer than me, 23 years, 4 months, and 7 days, not that you were counting. And so tell us about, kind of your overview of your career, like the Air Force side.
I started off electronic warfare on F-4G Wild Weasels in 1990. Right after Desert Storm ended, I got to George Air Force Base in California, shut that down, went to Korea for a year, worked on A-10s, went back to F-4s in Las Vegas, stood them up for a couple years, did a few deployments with them for Northern Watch, Provide Comfort,
really cool.
That kind of out of Turkey.
Yeah.
And then went to AWACS, and I did AWACS for 3 years, got a bunch of deployments with them for, I think it was still called Northern Watch.
Were you in Oklahoma, stationed out of Oklahoma for that, or?
I was out of Tinker,
Yeah, Tinker.
And then I couldn't change due to the drawdown, couldn't get a different job, so I left in December of 99. And about 6 months later, my wife says, "You need to go back in. You're not the same person."
Yeah.
So I tried to get back into the reserves. It took a while, and ended up being in 1 month after 9/11, and spent 14 years in the reserves out of Youngstown, Ohio, with C-130s.
For sure.
Did a two-year detail as a first sergeant, and then a good friend of mine, Chief Palma, picked me up as a flight engineer, and the rest is history, as they say.
No, that's great. And I think that your point about your wife telling you to get back in, I think that's one thing that all of us veterans have in common, is that we want that task and purpose that kind of comes along with a mission-driven organization.
Absolutely. When I retired, I was okay for about a year. I mean, I still have a full-time job with the FAA. I still work electronics, still work around airplanes and airports, but something was missing. And about a year after I retired, I was just in a really, really dark place. And I picked up a buddy of mine, Jason Rutledge, who is a co-founder of SAVE22, and he said, "Hang up the phone, get on your bike, and come meet me." And I did. And 4 years later, they give me a phone call and say, "Hey, we're doing a motorsports outreach with Alliance Racing, and they're going to be at Mid-Ohio, about an hour from you, this weekend, and we'd like you to go." And I'm thinking, all right, what do you want me to do? Shake some hands, kiss some, take pictures, whatever.
Kiss babies.
Said, yeah, go hang out with the car. You've been in racing out in Las Vegas. You did some racing back home.
Yep.
Yeah, go hang out. And by the end of that weekend, Brandon Graham offered me a job with Alliance Racing, where I would just be a fly-in mechanic.
That's really awesome.
Go up for the race and wrench on the cars and go home. And man, they've been absolutely awesome for me. Brandon has reached out with SAVE22 and got a couple other guys in at VIR, Virginia International.
Right, which is where our headquarters is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that motorsports outreach has also gotten into NHRA and Xfinity and NASCAR. Lex June in NHRA and Mike Harmon in NASCAR. Those guys are just absolutely amazing legends, to say the least, of those guys. And the amount of support that they give veterans and SAVE22 is incredible, and enough can't be said about those guys.
No, that's great. And you were doing Formula 4, right? That was kind of what you were working?
Yeah, Alliance Racing is a Formula 4 team, and they are a driver development series. And the cars are all spec cars, spec chassis, spec motor, spec gearbox.
Mm-hmm.
Very little adjustment that you can do other than, a little bit of chassis. But with them being an Indy-style car...
it's open wheel,
you're
right?
You're really limited on the amount of adjustments you're going to make. And these kids are all 18 and younger,
mm-hmm.
Great kids, fantastic families. In fact, I'd like to say that one of the drivers, David Burkett, his mom, Sonia, is the one that got me started with my podcast and reaching out to veterans. And the people that you meet while you're racing, you're all like-minded, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think as veterans, when you get out, you miss the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the attention to detail. You miss that kind of stuff. And when you get into motorsports, you need all that because somebody else's life is in your hands with that
for sure.
car.
Yeah.
And to sit and talk with them and just be involved with it again was absolutely amazing. Albert Wooden, who's the president of SAVE22,
mm-hmm.
saw a picture of me down there at Mid-Ohio with the Alliance Racing shirt on, having a team meeting. I'm with the owner, Tony, and he called me up and he said, "Bro, I haven't seen a smile on your face that big in years." And it really got me back into where I was comfortable, I was happy, and I was having a good time. Not only racing, but I got to talk about SAVE22. I got to involve other people with SAVE22, and man, just what an opportunity! I got to hang out with Al Unser Jr. Man, I mean,
the Al Unser Jr.
The Al Unser Jr., two-time Indy 500 winner, Al Unser Jr., and shook hands, put our arms around each other, had a hug, had coffee in the morning at the hotel.
You got to hug Al Unser Jr.?
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah. Did he smell like motor oil or something like that when you hugged him? That's like veteran. I mean, that's an IndyCar royalty right there, sir.
Right. I mean, just if my darkest day had gone a different way, if the VA hadn't have put me on hold when I called and said I was looking to hurt myself and end my life at that moment, if they hadn't have put me on hold, I wouldn't get to enjoy any of this. And
incredible.
If you got anybody out there that's struggling, man, all I can say is, listen, it gets better. I know it's cliche, but man, it does.
Yep.
I've done some amazing things, met some amazing people, and we're conditioned to need something else. And when you leave the service, you feel like you've lost that connection, and you have to find it again when you get out. And motorsports has done that for me. SAVE22 has done that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just I got goosebumps right now just talking about it.
No, and tell me, like, how does SAVE22 kind of work? And because again, I think I've told you, the top line thing for Racing for Heroes is dealing with the veteran suicide epidemic. And as you know, there's 22 veterans a day that commit suicide, and those are the ones we know about. And so the numbers got to be higher. So tell us about what SAVE22, what they do besides, I know they're helping you out with racing, but kind of in the big picture.
So big picture, SAVE22 is a veteran outreach organization looking to raise awareness of veteran suicide. We have on SAVE22.vet, you can go in, you can donate, you can you can check out some pictures, you can apply, and the application is really only for insurance purposes.
Yeah.
But we have so many outreaches with fishing, both in the Carolinas mm-hmm. and Ohio. Matt Dotson, which I think you're a friend of, with
Matt's the best.
Rustic River Craftsman Foundation. Yeah, Albert was with him doing some fishing. We have, I think we're getting ready to start a hunting trip We've done the motorsports outreach. We help with financial situations if the timing and the situations are right. We've built handicap capable or handicap accessible ramps for a couple families. We built a playground for another family. It's all grassroots here, local. We have expanded a little bit. We've got individuals in Michigan, the Carolinas, here in Ohio. I think we just had a buddy move down into Florida. We just want to stick with local and do the things that matter most. Not every veteran is a combat wounded vet who qualifies for a lot of assistance. So we want to let them know that, look, it's okay to be, a 20-year grunt.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, John.
Texted in right at that time.
Murphy's Law, brother.
Murphy's Law. Yeah. But, we want to let the guy, the normal vet, the guy who's not injured, who didn't lose a leg, who didn't have a TBI, to let them know that, hey, you know what? It's okay to not be okay. I mean, it's okay to have a day where all you want to do is sit in the dark and, eat ice cream and Cheetos and watch television. But you've got to be able to stand back up, to never quit, and be okay with talking about not feeling good. And, with SAVE22, we have individuals from all gamuts of service, and some are combat injured, some are injured as a civilian, some have never been injured, some have never had a suicidal thought, but we all know somebody
who has.
Who has. And we grow our network so that if you call one of us, we might not have the answer, but I guarantee we'll get you that answer within a day or so. Hey,
and before I go for my final question for you, because we are getting close on time, what's the website again, so everyone can listen to log into SAVE22.vet? So
SAVE22.vet is the website.
Okay.
They've actually afforded me an opportunity to have a podcast and talk about this stuff as well. You can reach out to me at Johnny Mo Media on Facebook, Instagram. I've got a YouTube channel now, too, that we'll be posting videos of our interviews. And we're just going to do exactly what SAVE22 is, but just in a different medium.
Awesome.
We're going to do interviews like you're doing, talk with normal vets who've got a project going on or who have reached out in their own community and done some good. We just kicked off our first interview on Tuesday, and that was with the co-founder of SAVE22, Jason Rutledge. He's got an amazing story, and look for us, man.
Well, I'm there for you, brother. If you ever need another interviewee, I'm your man. So feel free.
Oh, you're on my list. You are on my list.
All right, last question. Because we're down to like the last 3 minutes of the show. Tell us about your best road trip ever.
Oh my gosh. That's a tough one. But I got to admit that back in 94, 95 era, I was in Las Vegas, and I had met the Chris Trickle race team out there. And many might not know who Chris is, but he's Dick Trickle's nephew, and he was shot and killed while driving to I want to say it was a tennis match at 10 o'clock at night. But he used to race late models and Southwest Tour, Winston West cars. And I was working at the shop one day on a Friday, and it was July 4th weekend, and Chuck Trickle, Chris's dad, Dick's brother, sees me loading up the car, and he says, "Hey, you're that Air Force kid, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He says, "Well, I like what you're doing here. I appreciate you busting your butt and doing everything. I'd like to have you down to Bakersfield."
Nice.
I'm like Bakersfield, the half-mile Bakersfield? He's like, "Yeah, Bakersfield. Can you be at my house at 3 o'clock? Hey. So I made a couple phone calls, verified I could go, and I shot down to Chuck's house. We hopped in the car hauler, rode all night to Bakersfield, got there at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep a wink. Got to the gate to check in, and the lady was like, "Look, I need your license." So me being all naive, I show her my driver's license, and she just laughs. And she wants my NASCAR license. Well, I don't have a NASCAR license. So here comes Chuck Trickle over, and he's like, "What's the deal?" And I told him, and he says, "All right, I got it." And he starts whipping out $600 to buy this license.
Yeah.
Well, Dick Cobb sees this, and Dick Cobb is a short track Hall of Famer, just the
real deal,
incredible individual, incredible guy. He comes over and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Chuck says, "I'm buying his license." Dick says, No. That's my guy. I'm buying that license. I'm like,
That's
we're
awesome.
fighting over buying my license. So we're at Bakersfield, and Chris Rexon practiced in the late model, backs it into the wall, breaks everything.
Yeah.
We put him together with like 2 bolts hanging onto this Watts linkage, throw him in the car, qualifies 15th.
Nice.
By lap 18, he's in second. I mean, he is just bad fast.
Yeah.
And the caution comes out. He's chasing Sean Monroe for the win. 3 laps to go for the checkered, and Chris beats him coming out of turn 4 by like a foot and a half. Just an awesome day. He ends up wrecking the tour car.
Of course.
Drive all night, back to Vegas, put it back together, and he ends up setting track record at the board.
That's amazing.
In Las Vegas. I mean, just what a fantastic weekend, And this was all before social media and cell phones and stuff.
And Johnny,
Man,
I'm so sorry.
time.
I got to call Check Fire. I mean, that's an amazing story, but we got to go. It's at the end of the show. So listen, Johnny, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Brett. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, brother. All right, everyone. Again, Racing for Heroes. We're still on the air. We're going all the way to November 13th. Please log into our website, www.racing.org. Check out what we're doing. We're super excited to be here. And if you want to hear more, again, please log in and take a look at what we're up to. So thanks, everyone. And we'll let the rest of the show go with some Doug Lane a little further down the road. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.